Hello and welcome back to the Woodwork channel. Welcome back to the press box. This week I'm your host George. I've got Axel alongside me as well. How are you, Axel?
I'm very good, thank you very much. How are you?
Good, thank you. And this week we're a man down. There's just a guest today, but luckily he's got a lot to talk to us about, so I'm sure he'll be able to fill the gap. UCFB lecturer, multimedia star, Tom Skippings is on the pod.
Thank you very much,
Welcome,
George.
Tom.
Thank you, Axel. Nice to be here. Thank you for the invite.
No problem. Now, you've just gone from teaching me for 2 hours to being interviewed by me.
Yes. Yeah.
Which one do you think is going to be the more challenging?
I suspect, without a doubt, this will be more challenging, yes, because usually I get to ask you questions that you...
Well, we'll see if your teaching has worked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if the questions are any good. Yeah.
So let's kick it off with the question we ask all of our guests on the press box then. What made you fall in love with football?
Wow. Well, you'll need to get the understanding that I am extremely old, because I'll be talking about some timings and some chronology that won't mean anything to you. But I guess the same reason that everybody else falls in love with football is your first live experience of it at whatever level it is. And I grew up in Suffolk, and I was taken to a game by my uncle in 1973. Now, I was about 8, and a long time ago, and it was... Exactly.
I didn't want to go there.
I told you it was a long time ago. I did warn you. But football did exist then. There was football. Ipswich Town versus Newcastle United. And a bit like Newcastle this week, it was an absolute thriller. Packed house at Portman Road. I'd never been before. Everyone standing, of course, on the terraces. Ipswich 5, Newcastle 4.
Wow.
Fantastic game. And I thought on the way home, I was about 8 years old, as I said. On the way home, I thought, that's it for me. Football's best. And... pestered my uncle to take me every week after that. From memory, the next 2 or 3 times I went were all 0-0 draws. But that first game had kind of hooked me. Yeah. And I think once you've had that kind of experience, from memory, Ipswich are losing, and they came back, it was all that kind of thing. It just stays with you, and you just have that experience, and you're looking for it all the time. You always want that kind of thrill again, so that's why you get hooked on it, I think.
And wasn't that a time where Ipswich were doing really well? I know they had... I forgot quite who... Was it Alf Ramsey? Alf
Ramsey was their manager in the 60s, and in 73, Bobby Robson was their manager, And they were heading into a period through the rest of the 70s and into the early 80s where they were very strong. They won the FA Cup in 78. They won the UEFA Cup, the precursor to the Europa League, in 81. Consistently challenged for the title, lost championships on the last days of seasons, went through an entire league season with 13 players and lost the title to Villa, I think, by a point. Yeah. All those kind of things. They were a big club in that time. Yeah.
That first game is incredible though, because I can't actually remember mine. I have vague memories that Forest played Blackpool, but I can't.
What was that your first time being introduced to football?
Yeah. But you can't forget a 5-4.
No, exactly. And I think for most people, just the experience of going to football is usually enough to hook you in. But for me, just that, I couldn't believe what I was watching, you know. And I was made aware that football isn't usually like that, and sure enough, it isn't. But as I've certainly discovered since. But yeah, it was just a fantastic, thrilling experience. Yeah.
We'll come back to your career in a sec. I just want to fast forward because I know that this week you went back to Portman Road.
Yes.
And you're in the away end.
Yeah.
So tell us how that's going.
I mean, I suppose there's no way around it. I'm one of these awful people who've kind of switched allegiance, which is just the worst thing you can do. I mean,
that's the end of the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. It's good to join you. I mean, there's a lot of years involved. I grew up in Ipswich. I left Ipswich, went to university. Have never lived in Suffolk again, but my family lived there. I have had a season ticket at Palace for the last 20 odd years, and I go with my son, who I had a similar experience in a funny sort of way. The first game I took him to was Palace 4, Burnley 2.
Wow.
Which Palace came from 2-0 down. He had the same experience when he was about 7 years old. So yes, I am Palace season ticket holder. I go with him. Still, he's now in his 20s, but we go together. And yeah, this week I went back to Portman Road, which is a great ground, great club, but obviously I was very firmly in the Palace camp, and thankfully we won. Yeah, not a great game, but we managed to get a win. Yeah.
So you currently support Palace?
I do. Yeah.
It might change.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've reserved the right to switch. I think Bayern Munich are going quite well, or
Forest are in the top 6.
Forest
Tom?
maybe. I don't think it's going to get quite that desperate. But yes. My only way that I can defend it is that I have been going to Palace games from quite a few years before the Premier League era, so I did watch them.
And you're going to build up that love if you go for 20, 30
I mean,
years.
I used to go and watch Palace in the in the sort of late 80s, early 90s, with the time where Palace had a top side with Wright and Bright and reached the cup final in 1990 against United, Ferguson's first trophy and all of that. So I've got a bit of a history of watching Palace.
I love Palace, man.
Yeah?
Honestly, I do.
Really? How
Really?
come?
I don't know. I was in South Norwood,
Yeah.
and your stadium, I think someone scored. I can't even remember the game.
Yeah.
But I think it was West Ham versus Crystal Palace years ago. And you can hear it from the whole of South Norwood. Electrifying.
Yeah.
That's one thing Sellers part. I mean, I don't like it because from the away end you cannot see a single thing.
No, it's a shocking away end.
But for an atmosphere, it's
good, man.
Yeah, I mean we are known for the noise, and I think we've and that's kind of what stays with you. I mean, we were there. We've been going for a few years by then, but we were there the year we got it back from 3-0 down against Liverpool in the last 10 minutes. Ball. Yeah, we were there for that. And, you know, the home style just goes absolutely bonkers, and you just never... You can't replicate that excitement. And we do make a lot of noise. Yeah.
So I realised pretty soon that I wanted to be in football for my career, and that it was never going to be playing football. So I had to try and find a different route into it. So when was it that you realised that you wanted a career maybe in sport or in journalism?
Well, it took a while. I mean, I went to university once again, you know, and I won't labour the point about how long ago it all was, but I went to university in the mid-'80s. When the whole atmosphere around football was very different, you know, because of hooliganism, because of the trouble. You know, when I was at university, English clubs were still serving the ban or about to after Heysel, etc., leading up to Hillsborough, and in a funny sort of way, there was a really different atmosphere around watching football, and certainly watching football on television, for instance. It was almost like a bit of a guilty secret that myself and a couple of mates would sneak home when no one else was looking and watch highlights of football on BBC at Wednesday nights or whatever. You know, equivalent of, I think it was called Sports Night, midweek show that they used to have. You know, and it was a very different atmosphere around football, but I always loved it and went to games. We used to go and watch. I went to university in York, so we used to go to York City and watch them. But there was it was just a different industry and a different, completely different feeling around it. So I finished my degree. I did something completely different for a while, but I'd always maintained an interest in sport, particularly football. I also love cricket. I'd always wanted to sort of do something in that field. And I got to the point with what else I was doing where I thought, well, no, it's time for me to try this now. I had a sense that I wanted to be a broadcaster. I had no kind of training. I certainly haven't got the sort of training that you're having, in that sense. But I just sort of plunged in, gave up a job, thought I'm going to give this a go, and wrote letters.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is actually the question you asked me, but in terms of how I got in, I just wrote lots and lots of letters and just pestered people in the way that you kind of inevitably have to the point where someone gave me a chance, and I worked at Capital Gold Radio in London with Jonathan Pearce was the sports editor and the main commentator, and I still see John now, and got experience doing commentary and doing reporting that way, and went on from there. But it was just something that I always felt I wanted to try, and to be honest, I along with the love of football, I love broadcasting, I love television, and I kind of innately sensed that I'd enjoy the whole production side of broadcasting. So
did you have any experice of doing broadcasting before? Or?
Not really, no.
Did you always have that confidence though?
I felt that I could do it. I'd worked as an actor, which in a sense, I don't know whether it was any kind of help or preparation, but it got me used to the idea of rejection, because nobody gets rejected more than professional actors. But also, I'd had voice training. I knew how to present myself. I knew how to audition. I didn't have any issues from that point of view. Yeah. I just felt able to sort of push myself, perhaps in a way that I kind of confidence I wouldn't have now all these years later. But so I just felt that it was something that I would have an ability to at least have a crack at.
Yeah.
But I knew nothing.
Were you a screen actor then, or?
I did bits and pieces on screen, but very little.
More like a theatre guy.
Yeah, I did a lot of theatre. Yeah, I did a lot of theatre. Yeah, a lot of Shakespeare, a lot of all sorts of different things. But and I did that for a few years. And I thought, this is tough. This is a hard way to make a living, and there's something else I want to try. So I segued into something else. Yeah.
So you moved to London then, I'm guessing, for the Capital Gold Radio.
Yeah.
How did you find moving to? Obviously, you've moved to York before, and then moving to London.
Yeah,
How did you adjust to that change?
Yeah, I mean, it is a change. I mean, having grown up in the countryside and then lived in York for a few years. Yeah, London is different. I lived in South London, Balham, and that's when I started to go to watch Palace games, sort of late 80s. It's a very different environment. It's obviously very different now. I lived in a part of South London which is now very gentrified, and there's as so many parts of London have had a kind of overhaul, and it just wasn't that way then. But it felt like the place to be, in terms of my career or what I wanted to try to do. It felt very much like I had to be in London for those opportunities, and that's how that kind of worked out. Yeah.
So, like the first day that you went to Capital Radio, did you think like, this is where I want to be, or did you have that moment?
I think I immediately sensed that this was it for me. I mean, I had absolutely no clue what I was doing, or in terms of experience or any real sense of how it worked. But I just felt that I felt comfortable in that environment. I was enthusiastic, I guess. I sort of threw myself in, and then you get opportunities. I mean, it's the classic sort of cliched story in a way, but you just happen to be standing in the right place when somebody needs to go and do an interview or go and cover a game. I got to do, I remember it's years and years ago, it's actually Chelsea versus Ipswich at the Stamford Bridge before it was sort of overhauled. Everybody else's games finished early, and mine went to extra time. Nice. So they kept me on air to do commentary of extra time.
Radio?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
To do radio commentary, and I'd never had the chance. The producer came to me and said, we're going to stay with you, but don't mess it up.
Was it just you as well?
Yeah, you will stay with you for as long as
you don't mess up.
It was going all right, and I finished the game, finished the extra time, and that gives you the confidence to take the next step. So it's just grabbing those opportunities, which you know yourself. Yeah,
I find it interesting though. So like, obviously we're speaking later on in your career, but when you was younger, did you ever give football a go? Did you ever have ambitions of becoming a pro footballer?
No, I kind of encountered my own lack of ability quite quickly. I played a lot of sport when I was a kid, all sports. I played football, I played a lot of rugby, and played rugby at a higher standard, not sensational, but rugby just sort of fitted my physique better. I played a lot of cricket. My brother and I were both keen cricketers, so I always played.
Or a bowler?
I was a bowler. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, reasonably quick when I wasn't so large, because I'm tall. But that's a long time ago. But I mean, I just always played sport, and it was always an important part. My dad had played a lot of sport. He'd raced motorcycles, things like that. So there was sport in the family. We always, sport was our thing, and it still is. And if I see my brothers and cousins now, they all know lots more about sport than I do.
Really?
Yeah. That's their thing,
Yeah. But your ball knowledge seems quite good, to be fair.
We'll find out.
Yeah, well, you will. Yeah. I'm dreading the quiz already. But yeah. I mean, you've just got to be interested. And obviously, as a journalist, you retain information for when you need it, clearly. But it was always our thing. And so when I wanted to get into broadcasting, that was the natural area for me to move into. That's what I knew about, and that's what I felt comfortable with.
So have you always done sport, or did you ever just do news? Or
I
did
did
quite a few places like GMTV, Sky.
Yeah. I did news in lots of different places. After Capital, I got into television through a job at a regional ITV station down in the West Country. I worked down there for a couple of years, and I did news there. I was in their sports department, but everyone would pitch in, so I'd present their news bulletins, read the news. So I think that actually helps you sort of I think you're a better sports journalist if you can do the news element as well. And regional television was very different then. We had a lot of facilities in a very small area, which isn't the case now, sadly. But everyone would get thrown a story to cover, and that's the journalistic skill, isn't it? It's reacting and getting your head around a story quickly so that you can cover it. Yeah. So I did a bit of news. Yeah.
And you've done a lot in your career, but was there ever a moment where you thought, I've made it and I'm happy where I am, or is it always about looking further?
Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, I don't know if I ever had a particular career plan, and or any great aspirations. I got the opportunity to work on some big events. I went to some big tournaments. I went to, covered some big games because I worked at Sky for a while, and then I worked at ITV in various places. So yeah, I felt that I was able to do the job, and was a safe pair of hands. I didn't ever have a sense of a career trajectory in wasn't aiming for anything particular. I just wanted to be good at what I was doing, and take the opportunities as they came along. So, but I wanted to balance work and life. I had children, got married and had children, so that was a different perspective on work then. I mean, this industry, as you're sure you can understand, sort of swallows you up if you let it, and you can just work constantly. And I didn't want to have children and never see them, so I kind of changed my attitude, and that's when I started to freelance.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's it like being a freelancer then? And
I think it's constantly changing.
Yeah.
I've been freelance for the last sort of 20 years or so of my career, really.
Can you explain the concept of freelancing as well?
Yeah, I mean, I guess in a in a mindset sense, I went back to those early days when I was trying to get back into the industry, because having worked for 2 or 3 different companies and had staff jobs and been quite secure and all the rest of it, you develop contacts and you develop a network. And I got to the point where I thought, well, I want more flexibility in my working life to fit my family life, etc. And once again, you'd sort of take a slight punt, or you'd just sort of dive into it. And I started with some freelance work for an ill-fated, sadly, organisation called ITV Digital, which was great while it lasted, but didn't last very long. Managed to spend all its money very, very quickly. But that was my introduction into freelancing. And freelancing is great because it gives you flexibility, and you can control your own diary and work when you want to. But in return for that, the other side of that is that you are constantly kind of at work, in the sense that you're always looking.
Yeah, for jobs.
You're always every person you meet. And you try to do this in a way that doesn't make you pushy or aggressive or needy or anything, but you are constantly, you're always looking for opportunities. I mean, you have to, because you've got to keep your diary busy, and you don't know when one avenue is going to close. So you're constantly, so that requires a lot of energy. But I've always enjoyed, in some senses, the chase of pursuing the work. So that became what I was doing. And I was able to have 5 or 6 regular clients and work like that for quite a long time. Yeah.
I'm not sure if I made this up, but did you do something with FIFA, like the game?
What game?
FIFA, like the game.
Oh.
The console.
Oh, gosh.
Like FIFA, like the game.
Yeah.
Oh.
I've had various strange voiceover jobs over the years.
Well, you did one for FIFA.
And I think years and years ago, I think I did do a voiceover. I mean, I've done voiceovers where people have sent me scripts and say, "Can you voice this?"
Yeah.
And almost in a way that makes me sound a bit of a chump, I've sort of done it and never been entirely sure where it's ended up. But I've certainly done promotional stuff for various clubs, and I think I did do a kind of promotional thing.
Because someone said that to me when we had you last year. Someone was saying that, and then I remember I thought I recognised your voice from it.
Yeah, I mean,
it was like
no.
It was something like Ultimate Team.
Yeah.
It was like an intro to Ultimate Team, I think.
Yeah, that rings a bell. It was a long time. I mean, I haven't still got a copy of it or anything, but I've done, and that is in a way, that's quite a good indication of the nature of freelancing. Is that you take opportunities that come along, and then I've done all sorts of things. I mean, I did voiceovers on the Paul O'Grady show on
Really?
ITV.
What, the dog thing?
Yeah. Well, no, he did a chat show beforehand, and I used to do voiceovers on that occasionally. I mean, just stuff that comes along. I had a voiceover agent for a while who would get me these little gigs. So,
how do you promote yourself then as a freelancer?
Yeah, good question actually.
I mean, I always promoted myself through my contacts and word of mouth and people that I knew. And I mean, the nature of freelancing, and I think it's still the way, even though the industry is kind of changing, is that a lot of let's put it this way: I will go to a job in the past TNT or BT as it was, or IMG to work on something, and I will know pretty much everybody who's working on it because they are freelancers that I've worked with somewhere else.
Okay.
And in fact, on a European night, I could work somewhere for ITV on a Champions League show, and the next night be working for BT, let's say, on a Europa League show, and it would be the same freelance crew who'd worked on it. So that's what I'm saying, is that's the network that you rely on.
So everyone kind of knows everyone.
Everyone kind of knows everybody. Yeah. And that's changing, and opportunities are shrinking, and they're going in different directions, and broadcasters are now focusing on different things. So the industry is changing, but it still, to an extent, relies on the network that you build and the contacts that you have. Yeah. And obviously being able to do the job.
Your phone log must be crazy.
Yeah. It has been in the past. Yeah. I've got. Yeah.
Who's your most famous contact?
Oh, blimey.
Prince William.
I got Gareth Southgate on my phone.
You've got Gareth Southgate on your phone?
Gareth Southgate on my phone, yeah.
Can I ring him?
No, you cannot.
Would he take your call, though?
Oh, that's another question. I haven't spoken to Gareth for a long time, about 5 years probably, but I have spoken to Gareth.
Do you think he has your number saved?
I'd be very surprised. So certainly what's happened to Gareth in the years. Gareth used to do stuff when he was at Palace and a bit beyond that. I worked on a very local show where Gareth was a fairly regular guest, so I used to see him quite a lot. So yeah. So.
Now, there's a couple of things before we get onto the quickfire round. Firstly, when I was stalking you on LinkedIn
Nice.
in prepreration,
that must have been a very slow evening for you. Jesus, you need to get on.
I saw you were chief editor at No Box Sports.
Yes.
Talk to us about that.
Well, that was a bit of a detour in my career, and a kind of opportunity that was very much of its time, sort of early in the 2000s. This.
I was born the year you started.
There we are. Yeah. Once again, that's what we're talking about. But it was a sports. It billed itself as a sports marketing agency, although that term never really got defined. That was set up by a group of people who, perhaps in hindsight, had more money than sense, and they recruited a team of journalists, which I ended up running. But that wasn't the most expensive part of their production by any means. But they also put a number of top sports stars of the time on retainer contracts. So from the football world, we had Alan Shearer, John Barnes. We had, the players of that ilk and a little older, but a really interesting mix. And then from Formula One, we had Nigel Mansell and tennis with Boris Becker in both of them. So sports stars of that time who were retired or come to the end of their careers. And they put them on retainer to sort of work, for them on events or content. I mean, it was a concept that probably they weren't quite up to speed in terms of making work, and it's probably something that would work better now because of the evolution of social media and so many more platforms. It was just hard to make it work. So it was an interesting couple of years working with lots of people like that who were, for the most part, helpful, but not always. But that was an interesting part of the experiment as well. But it just never, sadly, became really viable.
Right.
It was very much of its time. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But that was an interesting experience because that was my first introduction in terms of running a department, managing. There were about 12, 15 journalists that I was kind of managing. So that was a new thing for me. Yeah.
Well, now you're managing students.
Yeah.
That's, so after what?
Yeah.
Quite a few years in the industry, you decided to come to UCFB.
Yeah.
What made you think that was the right time for you?
Who knows? I mean, now I'm doing it. Everyone would have their own view on whether it was the right thing to do. And I won't ask your opinion, George. But I had always enjoyed, and as I got sort of further in the industry, the whole helping younger journalists get into the industry, find their feet, helping them in terms of working with them and passing on knowledge, if you like, or tips or ideas. And that's something I'd always enjoyed. And like everything else, I saw an ad in LinkedIn. I saw UCFB advertised, obviously as you would, for a member of staff, and they were looking for someone with sports broadcasting experience. Beyond my degree, I didn't have any academic training in that sense, but I expressed an interest, and the response came back from Dave King. And Dave said straight away, "You're the kind of profile we're looking for." And I've never regretted it, but it has been a complete departure from everything I'd done before. And I was specifically recruited and had an interview and got the job because of my experience, because that's what
they push here a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that is, from Joe and from Owen and Robin Bailey, who was here before, Bob, people who have that experience, is a sort of calling card, because there's that experience of having done it, but also that connection with the industry as it currently stands. So
it's not an easy job, and I don't envy it. What's the most difficult bit about it?
Teaching you.
Teaching you,
that's probably up there.
That's top 5. No, I mean, I think generally it's and somebody who I spoke to about it just when I began said that the trickiest thing in a way is to, because I've been doing it for so long, is to take what you know and break it down in a way that you can deliver it to people who haven't done it before.
Yeah.
And it's the ultimate sort of communications task in that sense, because that's what you're doing. You're sort of trying to explain, and it's not about explaining this is how you do it. It's helping people find the way to do it for themselves.
Yeah.
So that it's been really, really challenging. I mean, I have to say I spent, not in a negative way at all, but I spent the first couple of years thinking, can I do this? You know, am I a bit of an imposter here? Or what gives me the credibility to do this? Apart from the fact I'd done it for a long time. I don't feel that way now. I'm really sort of, you know, I really enjoy working with students, and you know, I'm really relaxed with it, and it's a real positive, and it's made me think very differently about my career and about the work I've done. You know,
and
so
has it, because obviously you were freelance before, and I know you still do a bit now,
Yeah,
but probably less. Does it give you a bit more structure, maybe?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's true. I think there's a you know, I wouldn't suggest it was an entirely altruistic move. I felt that at my great age and the industry developing the way it had, there was a sense in which, excuse me, that the kind of work that I'd done, working on linear kind of highlight shows, was likely to become less of an issue, less of something that the broadcasters wanted to do. So I felt it was a move that might be beneficial to me in that sense.
Yeah.
And I mean, in fact, over the few years I've been doing it, I've actually remained reasonably busy, as you say, not as busy as I was. So I've had the sort of trying to balance the two. But it's worked out quite well from that point of view.
Great.
And ITV really haven't helped that, but I won't ask you about that. You probably don't want to get into that.
Well, you know, I can bite the hand it potentially feeds me occasionally. Yeah.
I can feel Ellie burning in the studio because we're overrunning, but we've got a few quick fire.
Windbag. Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah.
If you can add any, Axel, if you want, if you've got any. What's your best interview of your
Best
career?
interview. Age thing again. I had a half an hour with Pele.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
We can go a bit deeper into this.
Pele.
Pele.
And at a tournament, and it was in Brazil. It was the 2014 World Cup, and he did a presser, and it was really interesting because he came to the room when the press department, all the journalists applauded, and when it was Martin Samuel stood up, we're press, we don't applaud, but it was Pele, and I was with Sky, and he did one-to-ones afterwards. And
Half an hour.
30 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, which was great because I don't know if I covered anything very sensational, but we talked about his career and lots of detail.
Wow,
it was really
that
was a good interview. Yeah,
that's
it was good.
incredible.
Yeah, it was a good interview. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah. My dad, sort of, I think that's the only moment in my career where he was actually impressed. And for about 5 years afterwards, he'd put the video on, the tape every time anyone came round. We've seen this, Dad. No one needs to see this. But that was nice. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I know you've interviewed Sir Alex as well, haven't you?
Yeah, a couple of times, 2 or 3 times, not always successfully. Yeah.
You probably weren't the only one though.
Oh no! It was a badge of honour in the industry to fall foul of Sir Alex, and I certainly did. I mean, I didn't cop it as bad as some did. I witnessed some journalists having a terrible time with Sir Alex, but he was. I mean, he was a great interview in that every answer was valuable.
Yeah.
You could talk to Sir Alex for 4 minutes and get a 3-minute feature out of it, which thankfully on a couple of occasions I did, because after 4 minutes he decided he'd had enough of the interview and told me as much. But he was a really interesting guy. Yeah.
What about most challenging interview?
Sir Alex.
Well, I mean, he's up there. Well, the challenging ones are always the ones where there's a sort of there's a
like defeat. Or...
Yeah, exactly. It's encountering people when they've had a defeat. I mean, he's a perfectly pleasant bloke, but I always had difficulty with David Moyes.
Really?
Yeah. For some reason, I could never quite get an interview with David Moyes quite right.
How many times do you think you?
Oh, I don't know, 3 or 4 times, but there was always a sense that
when he was at Everton, or
Everton, and mostly Everton, but I think once when he was at West Ham, but the first time, but. So those interviews, because then you carry a little bit of baggage into it the next time you encounter them. But the interviews are the hard ones where people have had a defeat, and sometimes they can surprise you. I did the rugby, did the 2015 World Cup for ITV, the world feed. So I was on the pitch after the games when South Africa had lost to Japan, which was a major sort of sporting upset. And had to interview the first interview you get, and it's on the final whistle, is the losing captain.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it goes losing captain, winning captain, losing coach, winning coach, and you get it in the
you have to
order.
be straight on, ready
straight
to go.
on. And they brought this guy over, and he just de Klerk, and he just suffered this extraordinary defeat.
And you've got a mic.
Yeah, so and he to his eternal credit, he gave a fantastic interview. But I have had prickly interviews with managers who've just.
How'd you deal with that?
Well, you have to. I think you have to have a sense of knowing when to quit, when you'd quit when you're ahead. But yeah, I mean, it's a question of
I'm enjoying this, guys.
I know. Well, I think
I'm in charge.
I'm getting the signal. We've said enough, but yeah, I mean, knowing when you're getting as much as you're going to get, and make your first question count, and sort of run with that. You can't outstay your welcome in that situation because it's a diminishing returns. All you're going to do is the answers are going to get shorter, and you're going to provoke them more. So yeah, it's a question of knowing when you've got enough.
I'm going to plough on. Who's your best friend in football?
Best friend, blimey. Best friend in football.
Sir Alex.
It's not Sir Alex. I mean,
Gareth Southgate.
Yeah, no. My best friends in the industry are the fellow journalists I work with. I've never presumed that I have a personal relationship with any of the players. Or
do you think you ever have though, Bill?
I've had relationships with people where they know who I am, and I can have a personal conversation with them. One or two cricketers. I spent a lot of time working with cricket or rugby players.
Who would you say is the most likeable then?
Most likable. I mean, it's a mixture. I mean, let me see. On the rugby side, I spent some time with quite a few of the England guys from that World Cup team, the team that won the World Cup, who were all sort of nice and approachable. I'd see them at corporate things. I've done a bit of corporate, and they would, they'd be approachable, and you could ask a question. They'd talk to you or ask you about your family. They'd take an interest in you, but I don't ever feel that's not the job I'm doing. Really,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm working. We're having a professional relationship, and I wouldn't assume that they'd want to know more about me, and for the most part they don't, which is absolutely fine.
Fair enough.
What's the best live game you've been to? I mean, that first one might be.
That was up there. I went to the.
Ignore them.
I'll get off in a minute. I went. I'll keep droning on until you stop asking me questions. The Euro 2000 final is one of my favourites. France, Italy.
Yeah.
That
wasn't the Zidane one, was it? No,
it wasn't a sensational game. It was golden goal. Trezeguet won it. With
yeah.
Rings a bell. But that was a fantastic atmosphere, just being in the ground.
Where was
that was in Holland, wasn't it? So, Amsterdam. Yeah, the final was there, and I was pitch side halfway line. So the anthems, they're two great anthems.
Yeah.
I love an anthem, and that sort of that was it was just a great sort of occasion. That's the one that. I went to the
Italian anthem.
The Italian anthem's bonkers, and the French one is crazy too. So yeah, that was good. But it's often the occasion and the atmosphere rather than the game.
I know you've done a lot of sort of Olympic work and rugby. You said so. What's your most proud non-footballing piece of work that you've done?
Yeah, I mean the rugby gig that I talked about in 2015, pitch side, sort of being on the pitch after the final, and talking to players then, and sort of just that whole. It's any kind of occasion where you're slightly up against it in terms of having to. I mean, what's addictive about this industry is hitting the deadlines and getting the job done and turning it around and not having long to do it. And any time you're in a situation where you're really up against it in time pressure. I mean, I did the sort of full-time package on Man United winning the 1999 Champions League final from Sky. I mean, I wasn't even out there.
Yeah.
But I had to obviously redo the entire package because United did what they did. And voice it live to go out on the bulletin.
Yeah.
And that's one of the few times I've voiced a news package live.
Yeah.
And that's a hell of a, it's just a big adrenaline rush. So they're the kind of things you remember, Yeah.
What's the lowest moment of your career? Because nobody has it easy.
No. I mean, redundancies occasionally, a couple of times, or just, perhaps, disappointments of not perhaps getting interview opportunities you thought you might have done. All those sort of things you kind of have to roll with,
Did you always find it easy to come over them, or did they
no?
affect you?
I think you do linger on things where it's a slightly competitive industry, and a couple of times I felt I was passed over for something that might have come my way, a presenting job or a reporting job, just from memory, long time ago now. But it is a question of to an extent, you have to think, well, I'll show you. I can do this job, and I'll prove it again.
It's tough though.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah.
We kind of maybe already touched on this, but the proudest moment of your career.
If it's not Pele,
Pele's sort of up there. I think it's
apart from teaching me.
Yeah, of course. That's the proudest moment now, and it changes all the time. No, I mean it's a different experience every time I see you, George. But no, it's I don't know. I think my attitude to my career is generally that I've done a reasonably solid job without being sensational or anything. But I've felt that I've performed well under pressure. During tournaments, when I worked for Sky, I would do sort of 25 lives a day, and come up with something to say and produce 10 packages and everything like that. And those days are the days where you think, I've done a solid job here, really.
Right, they'll be happy to know. Final question.
They left hours ago. They've all gone. Yeah.
What's your biggest piece of advice for people like me and Axel trying to make it as sports journalists?
I think what you're doing is exactly what you should be doing. Yeah, the course alongside everything else you're doing is the perfect grounding. I sort of obviously in some respects wish that I'd pursued the sort of education route before diving straight in, because obviously the way I did it, you make a lot of mistakes rather publicly. Excuse me. So you're obviously getting that grounding. I think I wouldn't stray much from the norm, take every opportunity, but I think have a clear sense of what you want to do as well. Yeah. Have a clear sense of the area that you want to, because that in the end is going to be the area that you work at, and that's going to be the area where you really sort of deliver your best work. So, be open, but have a sense of your own value as well. Yeah. So, just grab it really. And yeah, that's what I did, and you. I guess more than anything, I think you both innately would know this, is that everyone you meet along the way is a contact, and it's really important about how you treat people. Because you go like that, and then you go like that, and you meet people going the other way. So that doesn't really work for radio, but you know what I mean, or podcasting. But so it's how you deal with people, because that always comes back somewhere down the line. I've got a lot of work from personal relationships with people I've developed because I had a couple of beers with them when we got on. That can open as many doors as anything else. Yeah, exactly.
Nice one. Well, we'll appease them and leave it there. But I've enjoyed that, Axel. You enjoyed that?
I actually really enjoyed that.
Thank you. No, good fun.
A lot of gems in there.
Yeah.
Well, Tom's not going anywhere. We're going to test his footballing knowledge, see if he's been paying attention over the years with a quiz against me. Stay tuned for that. Hello, welcome back to the press box. Tom and Axel have swapped places now. It's me against Tom now. I'm not sure how that's going to go.
I think you'll be all right, George. Don't you worry.
We'll hand over to Quizmaster Axel.
I'm Quizmaster today, so I've got 16 questions for you guys here. We'll take it in turns to answer. So you'll go first or you go first. And if you get it wrong, we'll pass it over to the next person.
Okay. You can't get beat this week, Axel. Yeah. I see what you've done here.
I don't mind being on this seat.
Can I not ask the questions? That sounds easier. Yeah.
I've got my money on Tom, though. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, so have I.
I'd be surprised.
Who would like to start?
I'll let our guest go first.
No
Thank
worries.
you.
Are you ready for the first question?
I am. Let's do it.
Right. First question. How many clubs are there in the EFL?
There are 72 clubs in the EFL.
Locked in?
Yeah.
He is correct. Long day for you, George.
I think George would have got that one.
In 1974.
Yeah, exactly.
In 1970, no, I'm joking. All-time top goal scorer in the Championship.
I think it's Billy Sharp.
Locking it in?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You are correct.
Come on!
Good. That is impressive.
What would you have said?
1-1.
That's
I know Lewis Graben's up there, but Billy Sharp, yeah.
Billy Sharp.
Fair enough.
Very good.
Are you ready, Tom?
Yes. By the way, I should get 2 points compared to what the
question
Tom
had. That was a trickier question.
Okay, bonus points.
Yeah.
We do
you know how many goals he scored?
That would be impressive.
Right.
That would be impressive.
No, but I know how many grabs he scored. I think it's like 134.
He was 4 off 130.
That's pretty
so
good.
Pretty
good. Not quite a bonus point, but pretty impressive. Yeah.
Right. Are you ready?
I am. More or less.
What is the biggest stadium in the Championship?
Oh,
You see, George's reaction suggests that he knows that immediately, and I'm having to think about it. The biggest stadium in the Championship. Stadium of Light.
You are.
Yeah.
Where are you looking it in?
No. What?
Are you looking it in?
I am.
Correct. You are
Okay.
correct.
It's
Okay.
outrageous.
What's that? 2-1.
2-1.
Yeah.
How's it going? Head to head. Okay. Yeah, if I was on the other end, I'd have
Yeah,
lost.
you'd be lost
Yeah,
here,
yeah,
Axel.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's George.
Would you have got 72?
No.
Really?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm doing better. I should be playing Axel. 'Cause
No,
I'm gonna lose you.
you don't want to be playing.
Yeah.
Are you ready, George?
Go on then.
Most championship losses with 308.
What, the team?
The team. Good luck here.
I mean, like...
There's no way around it. Those questions are harder than mine so far.
I'll give you closest to.
What,
So, like, if you get it, unless you hit it bang on. then
so,
we'll
no,
pass
do
it
I
to
have
him.
to get the team?
Well, it's the team you got. No,
Oh, yeah,
isn't it?
sorry,
It's
we're
the
talking
team.
about
yeah,
I was
it's
going
the
to say, you
team.
just gave...
Yeah,
You-
sorry.
You've given the number.
Team, yeah.
Right, so it's a team that's been in the Championship for a while.
Mm.
Could be Forest, you know.
It's not though, is it?
Sam might have put it as Forest just to annoy me.
300.
Yeah, get well soon, Sam, by the way. Sam's not here. Get well soon.
Yeah, go all soon, Sam.
Sheffield Wednesday.
Locking it in?
Mm-hmm.
Wrong. Over to Tom.
Actually, that's really not a bad shout.
Hydrate.
Cardiff City.
You are incorrect.
Right, we'll have one go each.
I'll give you guys one more go
One
each.
more go each.
I'll be impressed if you get this. To be fair.
Yeah, it's a tricky one.
Come.
Oh,
are
hang
they-
on.
Are they in
hang
the
on,
Champions?
hang on. Yeah, hang on.
Can I ask a question for a clue for us both, or not?
Go on then.
Are they in the
Yeah.
Championship now?
Yes.
Okay. Derby.
Preston.
No.
Oh, I thought you had a.
I thought I had-
QPR.
It's
Is
QPR.
it? Oh, yeah.
I
that
just
does
remember
make sense.
Preston have been in the Championship forever, haven't they? Yeah.
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 Right.
Oh, well.
If he gets another easy one,
I'm going to
I'll
be
look
honest,
it
I
up.
just read the next
What is your own name?
Oh
And
my
the one
God.
after that, is it difficult?
Almost like it's been planned this way.
You know what,
Yeah.
I might mix them up
I
a
should-
bit.
yeah,
Oh,
you
I
need-
don't,
yeah.
don't feel you need to mix them up.
Right,
actually.
I do.
think they're fine as
Sam's gonna be fired now. Actually, Will in the studio made some.
Yeah.
Are these yours or are these? These are yours. Okay.
Okay, I'll give you this one. What is the only club to go from the Premier League to non-league?
Oldham Athletic.
Wow, well done.
That's good. That.
Yeah,
well done,
well
Tom.
done.
3-1.
Fair play. Yes, it is 3-1.
Okay.
Who are the current championship champions?
You got to say it.
Some
You got to say
average team from the Midlands.
Oh,
Leicester City.
yeah, well done. 3-2.
Going down now without Cooper.
Mm.
Just saying.
Oh, they got a win the other day. You never know.
Oh, they got hammered. They got you see it? They got absolutely battered. How they won that game, I
Win's
do
a
not
win.
know. West Ham had 31 shots and somehow won.
Who are the current League One leaders?
Oh.
Right, this is on Friday. What's the date today?
Yeah, I must know.
Friday
this.
the 6th of December, so it's before this weekend's
I must
games.
know
I think
this.
I know.
Oh, blimey, my mind's gone completely blank.
This is ITV's number one EFL.
Yeah. It's not though, is it? It's not Wrexham. Someone's above Wrexham. Is it Wrexham?
Are you looking in?
Yeah.
It's not Wrexham.
Wycombe Wanderers.
Oh, well done, George.
You know how I know that,
Yeah,
and
well
it's quite
done,
tight.
I couldn't
because
remember the name. I couldn't
Will in
remember
the
the name.
studio did a piece for the Woodwork last week
Yeah.
about Wycombe being top of League One.
But it's the
So-
kind of question I ask in my own cahoots every
Yeah,
week.
it
Who's
is,
top
yeah.
and bottom of the League One? But I don't listen.
What's that? 3-2?
Maybe I need to set your cahoots now.
Yeah. Well, by all means, George, because it's a major chore.
I think it's 3-2, isn't it?
No,
3-3,
3-3.
3-3.
3-3. Yeah, you got it right.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it's
Ready
your
for your
That's
question.
my question.
Yeah.
I could take the leader. What is the northernmost club in the EFL?
Carlisle.
Locking in?
Yeah.
Well done.
Good answer. Clever. Well done.
Tom, over to you. How many teams get relegated from League One to League Two every season?
4.
Well done. 4-4. Guys, it's tight. Okay, here we go.
Oh.
Nah, to be fair, I have faith in you to get this one.
I'm glad you have faith in me, Axel.
Who has the most goals in one championship season?
Team or player?
Player.
Alexander Mitrovic. With like 40.
Locking it in?
Yeah.
Well done, 5-4. Do you know how
Fantastic.
many goals he scored?
I think it was like 40,
It was
41.
He
ridiculous.
scored
Wasn't it?
43 in 44 games.
Yeah,
it was
it's
a
the
ridiculous
season
number.
we went up, he scored a hat trick against us at the City Ground. It's a joke.
You ready, Tom? 5-4?
Yeah. I'm hanging
Would you
on by
have
my.
got
Yeah, I think so. But I'm hanging on by my fingernails. Keep going.
Which EFL's team stadium is called the Job Serve Community Stadium?
So it's obviously like
I'm encouraged
a
by the.
sponsor, isn't it?
Yeah. Job Serve Community Stadium. Doncaster.
No.
It's a guess.
It's a good guess, to be fair.
Something in me saying Peterborough, but I think theirs is like Western Homes or something.
Yeah, that rings a bell.
What's it called? What is it? Jobs?
Job Serve.
Job Serve Community Stadium.
It's the kind of thing you either.
No,
like all
or
of them.
don't.
You either know it or you don't.
Yeah.
But it's tricky.
Exeter St James. I'm trying to think of like a random one. Morecambe.
No. I'll give you guys one go each. I'll give you a clue as well. They're in League 2.
All right.
You watch, I'll say a club that's not in League 2 now.
Yeah, so will I. Gillingham.
No.
Walsall.
No. Colchester United.
Oh,
Is it?
Embarrassing.
5-4
That's
to
fine.
George.
I've still got the lead.
George is ahead.
Ready for the question?
Yeah.
Is this me?
Yeah.
So it could be 6-4.
Could be.
Which club
I want to recount the scores.
in the EFL was most recently formed?
The whole EFL.
Whole EFL.
I don't know why I'm taking time because I haven't got
I feel like Tom does know this.
Well, no.
I'm going to say Wrexham.
No. Tom?
AFC Wimbledon.
No.
Oh,
No.
yeah. That.
No. Good answer,
Can
but
we
not
get
the right one.
Can we get what league they're in?
2.
League 2, okay. Oh! Salford?
No.
Do you know this well?
Everyone's laughing. Pointing
Oh!
Pointing at him.
Oh!
It's too late now.
I don't know.
No.
Let George have another go. Go on.
No, he'll get
go
it.
on.
He'll get it
Go on.
straight.
He'll get it.
So
He'll get it.
I think I've got it now.
Get it. Well, the connection is Axel. Clearly,
Yeah.
everyone's pointing at Axel.
But
I don't know enough about Axel
Yeah,
to know
That's
the
good.
answer.
You have been watching our podcasts, Tom?
Yeah,
haven't
it's
you?
not. It's been a tricky time. A lot of marking,
you
George.
actually, I can't give him that clue. I'll give it away.
Yeah. League 2.
Whoa. No.
MK Dons.
Well done.
Yes, thank you.
It was close to
It
Wimbledon.
just came to me, George. Just came. I don't. It was a sort of divine, just inspiration.
What's that, 5-all?
I'm not a very good loser either.
Yeah.
Don't worry, George. You're not going to lose.
How did you make it through the first?
I think it's 6-5.
Can we get security in this studio, please?
I think it's tied game now, 5-5.
Yeah,
Alright.
5-0.
Okay, so it's your question now.
I believe so.
Who is the current manager of Leeds United?
I'm now frantically thinking, have they sacked him yet? I don't think they have. Daniel Farker.
Locking it in?
Yep.
Well done. The score is indeed 6-5 now.
Mhm.
George, you need this one.
Hmm.
Which EFL club has a stadium with only 3 stands?
Mansfield Town.
He's very quick with that,
Yeah.
but you're wrong.
Whoa. Mansfield have 3 stands. I live.
I mean, I'm just going off what's written here.
Yeah.
I'll do it quick.
No, but that's poor because there is an obvious one. Go on, Tom.
Is there? Well, I don't know it. I should know it, but I don't go to EFL grounds anymore, and not as much as I used to.
I can definitely come back.
If
Yeah.
he gets this wrong.
Yeah. With only 3 stands. It's not Morecambe, is it? It's going to be League 2, isn't it? Going to be League 2. It's not Colchester.
Don't you give him clues?
He's not
No, I'm not looking. I'm not. No, I can get this wrong without help. Accrington Stanley.
No.
Yes.
Oxford, Casam Stadium.
Ah, of
It's
course
the car
it is,
park,
for
isn't
the
it?
car
Yeah.
park at the
Yeah.
end.
Now, Mansfield do only
Bloody
have
hell.
3. They have a stand, but no one sits in it.
Yeah,
That's why I said that.
Friend of mine.
Just trying to get my local area in the
Furious.
pod.
Yeah.
6-6.
Yeah.
Tie game.
Is it?
I think the score is generous to me.
I thought it was 6-5 to me now.
No, you guys are tied now.
George, it's all right. You're
Okay.
gonna
He was
win.
ahead.
You're gonna win.
Okay.
You're gonna win. Don't worry.
You got 2 questions left.
Oh,
Right.
no.
Ooh.
Right, George, here you go. Newcastle's Jacob Murphy has a twin brother that plays for what championship club?
Oh.
Oh.
Oh. Oh.
No, I do know this as well.
Oh.
Do you know it, Tom?
I think so.
Oh, I do know
I
this.
think I do. Oh, actually, do I?
No.
I got confident there for a minute, and now I've had too long to think about it now.
Portsmouth.
Are you looking
Yeah.
in? Fair play, well done.
Well done, dug it out.
That's it.
Wow.
That's not what I was going to say.
Was it not?
Is it Josh?
Yeah,
yeah,
Josh
Josh
Murphy.
Murphy.
Was he?
He was at Oxford, I
He
think.
was at Oxford.
He's been
Was
all
he
over
at
the show.
Norwich?
Yeah. Or was that Jacob?
Oh,
so,
Jacob.
Jacob.
Mate, Jacob might have been at Norwich. Anyway.
So Tom's got to get this then.
I have
Yeah,
got to
you
get
gotta
this.
get this to tie.
To tie it, let's see.
Well, you know, religiously we're known for doing double points now, Jacob.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
What League 2 club goes to Stamford Bridge to face Chelsea in the FA Cup third round?
What a good question that is, but I can't remember the answer. So Salford drew.
Do you know this?
No, I don't know it, but I'm just relying. Right. Silence in there.
No, don't worry,
Silence.
George, you're going to win because I can't remember. Chelsea drew League 2 club. Is it Morecambe? Morecambe.
Are you locking it in?
Yeah.
He's got it right. Oh my god, that's 7-0. So what do we do now? Last question to tie the game.
Can't we take
I've
it on?
run out of questions.
Is there no questions?
I'll take it on
No
with
question.
George if you.
Yeah, we can have a draw. Well done.
Well
Tom.
done. He's
Fair.
eight.
I'm quite happy with that. And I know I've won at heart because of the cheating that went on.
Yeah, there was. I did.
Yeah, MK
I
Dons.
cannot deny. I did get a little bit of help from the gallery with one question, but
The fake Wimbledon. Wow.
yeah, the fate will.
Shocking. Right, we're gonna have one news topic. It's not gonna take long. We'll be back after this. Hello, welcome back to the press box after my, I'm gonna say victorious quiz victory against
Moral
Tom.
victory, George.
Yeah,
moral
it's a
victory.
good job, Axel. You didn't.
I would have got absolutely hammered.
Did you enjoy hosting though?
Yeah, it was alright.
Maybe
It was
we'll have
good.
maybe
No
we'll have to do
pressure.
that for now.
Yeah,
I don't mind that
I
job.
think that's the way to go in the future.
don't mind
Axel's
that
the
job
host.
at all.
Yeah, he did well.
We've got one news topic this week. It's on the back of the FA Cup that was last weekend, and I think we did mention this last year. But FA Cup replays were obviously scrapped from round 1, where last year I think it was about round 5 because I remember Forest. We had Blackpool and Bristol. We had 2 replays, away at Blackpool, away at Bristol. I was freezing at Blackpool. But that's part of football. The FA decided to scrap it this year, and it meant that Oldham against Leyton Orient, Kettering against Doncaster, and Harbour against Reading, all games that were the non-league side were away and were drawing at 90 minutes, meant that they've got a home replay, the money that comes with that, the TV rights, and the chance to go through. All 3 ended up losing and going out. I think that's a disgrace, and it shows what the issue was with taking out replays. Tom, what are your thoughts on FA Cup replays being scrapped?
Well, I'd like to offer a sort of original view, but I can't really. I think the Harbour one is the one that really sort of underlines the kind of human element of that particular decision. I don't know why, as opposed to the other 2, but they'd worked so hard, got it back to 3-3, and clearly they deserve the opportunity. There has to be an idea of reward. I mean, the FA Cup is about exactly those kind of occasions and those opportunities for clubs who wouldn't get it otherwise. I won't drone on, but you can see the counter argument, but the counter argument is all about clubs who don't have the same requirement from football or from the competitions that they play in. So it's all for their benefit. But yeah, I mean that was heartbreaking for those players to do what they did, and then of course inevitably because of lack of fitness or the training or whatever else, run out of steam and losing extra time is devastating when they deserved another chance at it, clearly.
Definitely. And actually, you're someone that plays football, obviously. They had to take into that factor, didn't they? The fact that there's a physical difference between a non-league side and a side that plays championship football twice a week.
Yeah, I mean, reduction of games. I mean, at the end of the day, like, what can you do? Like, for the non-league side, it's big for them. Obviously, bringing fans, bringing money or whatever, it's big for them. But for the championship sides or League 1, League 2, you don't really want to be going away to these sides anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
And what gets me the most is the fact that this decision has been made by teams that don't even play in round 1 and round 2. It's been made by the Premier League sides.
Exactly.
And they're happy to play in Europe, but they don't want to have a replay against little old Tamworth. Like, that is what grinds my gears the most. And I don't know, do you think this maybe points to the fact that football needs regulating, or the fact that 20 clubs can make a decision for the rest of the pyramid?
Yeah, I mean, I think it does call into question, the fact that more than ever, the game is at least 2 tiers, if not more. That the decisions that are made for the 20 elite clubs don't apply in reality to the situation for the other 70 odd, and therefore the decision making has to be different. Now, how you make that work, it's anyone's guess, but clearly, there needs to be a thought around, how you can make it fair and protect that right. And your point is valid, that the decision that is made by clubs who aren't directly affected themselves, and that can't be fair, really.
But what solution would you give, though? Like, what can you actually do about it?
I'd just keep the replays.
You just keep them?
Yeah, I'd keep the replays because I think it's at the detriment of the little clubs. And if the Premier League clubs don't want to, they can do what they do for the EFL trophy and put their whole youth team out. If they really don't care about it that much, that's how much they are against it. But the decision had to go, I think, to everybody that was involved. So you give the vote to Premier League clubs, Championship clubs, League One, League Two, and a few steps down. Because for 20 clubs to make that decision, that Harborough have lost, I think it's £85,000 you get for an FA Cup game on TV.
Yeah.
That could fund them for what?
How far down would you go, though?
Yeah.
Because Kettering are step 3.
I think you have to go at least from National League North. So that's the top 6 leagues in English football. Realistically, you might get 1 or 2 teams that are still in there, but
I don't understand really why they had to change the situation that they had previously with with replays up to round 5.
Yeah, that was perfectly fine.
Because fairly obviously by round 5 most of the smaller clubs, non-league clubs have departed, gone out. But they've had that opportunity for a payday. And it's for the smaller clubs it is about the chance to have a third round tie against a top club.
And it's been taken away from 3 of them.
So it doesn't just affect those smaller clubs financially, but it undermines the competition generally.
And that's what the FA Cup is about, isn't it?
It's we all know in May it's going to be 2 big clubs playing at Wembley for a competition that they're not that bothered about. It is the third round games that is special. Yeah.
And January isn't a busy month anymore because the clubs have voted for this stupid winter break. I know Forest moaned because we didn't have a winter break, but that's because we didn't beat Blackpool at home. I mean, we're a Premier League side. We should be able to beat Blackpool at home. Yeah. And the fact we didn't, we deserved a replay.
You earn the breaks if you do the job properly. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But in terms of that, though, like, even, for example, you've got teams like Tamworth, they're playing Spurs now. If there was a replay, do you think they beat, I think it was Burton, do you think they beat them on the second time? I don't think so.
I don't think it's about that, though.
You're talking
I think it's
more
the
about
chance of it and the money they're going to get. And the fact that playing 90 minutes against... You've played 90 minutes against a side that's 4 divisions above you. That should be it. You shouldn't have to then play another 30 with their squads and.
Yeah, you can't make it sort of arbitrary depending on who's winning. I mean, if you can have a replay, then it could be a replay that favours the League One side that was in danger of getting knocked out. Of course, it has to go both ways.
Like Leighton Orient scored, the keeper scored in the 90th minute. Oldham looked like they were going through.
Yes.
But they've still got the replay, haven't they?
Yeah, of course, and that's fair enough. Yeah, I just think it's obviously dictated by finances, but it's more than anything, it's dictated by power, and it's dictated by the clubs calling the shots, and that's just unfortunate.
That's where football is,
because once again, without one more reference, I'll shut up now, but reference to my great age, the FA Cup was all about those occasions when I was growing up, and that's just gone now.
Well, I read things about the FA Cup at one point was more important than the league, and you'd never be able to fathom that now.
It was the only live game, and it was a game that everyone looked forward to. You'd watch TV all day on Cup final day. It was a really special occasion, and of course, it doesn't have that now. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, have you enjoyed, Tom?
I have. I've had a great time. It was good fun. The quiz went better than I feared, so that was something. And no, it was good to talk to you. I enjoyed it.
Perfect.
Well done.
Thanks, Tom. Axel, you'll be back next week. I think we're going to do our footballing wrapped of 2024.
Okay.
So make sure you're there for that. And thank you, everybody, for watching. If you like the video, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well, and the notification bell to be notified when we upload. We'll be back, like I mentioned, next week. But have a good week, and we'll see you soon.